Yo, 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 what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Macro Mondays, the beginning of the end. Let's get stuck straight into the charts, the beginning of the end of the potential last leg or second last leg this cycle. And it is time to make the most out of this last bit of the cycle. So let's get straight into Bitcoin quickly. Bitcoin having a nice weekend pump. We saw a nice move up yesterday on Sunday. Nice weekend pump over there. Saturday, a little bit up and down. But we finally hit this 50% wick, guys. So I've been waiting for the 50% of the wick to get tagged. I haven't yet taken profits. But this would be a place where you could take some chips off the table. It's a high probability rejection zone over there, the 50% of the wick. So this is where you would expect, a little bit of overhead right over there. So there we go, a little rejection, still up on the day. Bitcoin still looking good, up 0.5% today. Bitcoin dominance is making a move to the upside. But as it stands, our longs looking good over here. This was the first long entry and the second long entry over there. An average of about 107K, targeting that 135, 140K zone over there. So, about halfway up on our trade now, but we can definitely see more to the upside. So let's see. And just to remind you guys that, even though we've seen quite a big rejection candle today, this is basically in the midst of the highest all-time close in history, okay? So the highest all-time close in history is 120K, just below. So if we close, a couple $100 above current price, that is all-time high levels and the highest daily close in history. So things are looking bullish, guys. And if I go to the weekly time frame, you can see that we almost have the highest weekly close in history as well. So this is looking like a rejection candle, nice push up, rejection off the zone over here. But still looking good, guys, still bullish, and we can be bullish above all of these levels over here. So long and strong and expecting more upside movement. Let's get into Bitcoin dominance quickly, because Bitcoin dominance came below our crucial level over there, but it looks like it's having a snapback over the course of yesterday and today. But what's about to happen for Bitcoin dominance is the death cross, guys. So yes, we can get a push over here. We spoke about these two scenarios, either, because we did close Saturday below this level and took out this low over here. What we want to see now is, either 3 daily candles closed below this level, which we only got 1. Okay, so that was a bit of a fail. So this is why we do wait for confirmation and wait for multiple candles to close. So we only had 1 daily candle, then we closed back above. Now what we want to see is the death cross. So we want to see price basically hover below the important EMAs, below that 62.5%. If we can hover in the zone over here, get the death cross, then we are looking for that major move down, that expansion to the downside. So that's what we're looking for, guys. So ultimately, this is bearish. There's nothing bullish about this. There's nothing bullish about to be death crossed over there. Of course, bearish market structure, taking out these lows over there. Of course, there's always a case for bullish divergence if this is the low, but for now it's weak, guys. So definitely, I wouldn't be longing Bitcoin and shorting altcoins at this point. I would probably be going the other way, but I wouldn't be shorting anything. So let's get into Ethereum, guys. So what we can see here for Ethereum is, of course, this looks like a little bit of bearish absorption over here. This looks like, the bears are distributing in the zone over here. So definitely watch out, guys. But, not too much to worry about, because, of course, we spoke about this 4th breakout zone over here. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and now this is the 4th breakout, or the 4th touch point. And the 4th touch point was a breakout. And that is exactly what we were speaking about. And now what we have here is a massive, massive, massive weekly breakout. So huge weekly breakout over here. So what we could easily see, guys, is a test of $3,850 around there. You could easily get a test and still be bullish. But no, guys, that's, anything above this level over here is really bullish, and dips are for buying. So this is now made green. Green is for buying, of course. And the bottom of this green, we could come into here between 4,100 and even this, candle close over there, about 3,900. This is a great zone to get into ETH if you aren't in that ETH long. But for now, guys, it is looking bullish. There's nothing bearish about the highest cycle weekly close in history. Okay, so this is of course the highest cycle price at the moment. This is the all-time high, but the cycle started back down here, of course, lining up with the Bitcoin cycle. And this is the highest cycle close, guys. So definitely bullish. Looks like we are getting a bit of a pump on the US Open, but let's see how it all plays out. ETH, BTC, guys, still looking really bullish. Still bullish after our breakout over here. We've almost hit TP1, so watch out for that. TP1 could come sooner than later, so keep your eyes peeled for that one, of course. Solana ultimately struggling, guys. Ultimately struggling. We spoke about Solana, Ethereum. This is so bearish. So definitely expecting Ethereum to outperform Solana. Solana is struggling. But for Solana to get into a bullish position, I would like to see it close multiple daily candles above this $195, $200 zone. That is, of course, the 50% level. Okay, and the 50% level from the all-time high, we saw the all-time here mid-Jan over there. We saw all-time highs over there. Then we saw this low in April, this deviation low. So these are very significant points. Now, the halfway point between those two significant points comes in $195, $196. So what we want to see is a consolidation above this level. So we almost got it over there, but we didn't get 3 daily candles closed above that level. We only got 1. So we closed 1. Okay, you could argue that there's potentially 2 there, but the third day, bearish engulfing candle to the downside below the level, ultimately finding support at the important EMAs. Luckily, we did have the golden cross over there. But what we want to see, you know, if you are a conservative trader, you'd want to see a consolidation in the zone here, and you could be going long from the consolidation period. But for now, we haven't seen any confirmation, so there's no reason to go all in on the Solana position yet, guys. XRP, you know, also coming into this resistance zone. We spoke about this resistance zone over here, saying that, you know, if you are in this trade and you are looking to exit again, because of course we did exit at all-time highs over here. We exited right over there, $3.40. That was only half the trade. And we spoke about getting back into it over here. This is a good place, you know, to take some profits on XRP, even open a head short. I'm personally not shorting the market, but this is where you would do something like that. USDT dominance also getting a move down. This looks like a deviation, guys. Look at that. Looks like we've deviated. Let's see if we can close below the zone over here. $4.10. We'd love to see this close below $4.10, and then we'd get a fast move to the downside. And we are actually approaching our TP, guys, believe it or not. So here we are. Our USDT dominance target has been $3.85. It's been $3.85 since we broke this upsloping support over there. So target is almost met. So let's just hold on for now, guys. Let's hold on for now. USDC dominance, of course, looking similar to USDT dominance, looking a little bit more bearish. This has a lot of room to fall, guys. So I think USDC can fall another 33% over there to our target. Total having a nice push, finally hit $4 trillion, guys. That's huge. The total crypto market hit $4 trillion, which is enormous, guys. That's huge for the program. So, of course, we know we're close to our target of $5 trillion. We're actually halfway, okay? We went extremely long in this $3 trillion region over here. So we got 3 trillion over there. We said that the long box is between 3 and $3.2 trillion. So we went heavily long in the zone over here. TP1 being $5 trillion. So let's see what happens over there when we do finally come to the $5 trillion zone. Total 3, a little bit of a breakout over here. You know, if we have a look at the lower term time frames, we can see there was this descending resistance over there. Broke out. Now we've closed 1, 2, and today is potentially the 3rd day that we're going to be closing below this level over here. So very significant zone over there. If we can close today above the zone over here, then we can be targeting those higher levels. And once we do break out of this zone over here, let's call it $1.2 trillion for even numbers, 1.2 trillion. Once we get above 1.2 trillion, I think we're going to have a very quick move all the way up to that $2 trillion region. over there. And that's going to line up very nicely with our total hitting that 5 trillion. Of course, the majority of the gains most likely coming in altcoins. So that's why total 3 will have that rip to the upside, looking like a little bit of a cup and handle, which we have spoken about. Anything else of importance today? Ultimately, things are looking good. I'll speak about ENA, guys. ENA is ripping to the upside. As you can see over here is some serious strength. I have taken the majority of my chips off the table. Of course, coming into that 78-cent zone, TP1 is done. If you're still in this trade, I've still got a little bit of a moon bag going on with ENA, but not too much on the table. If we can close multiple daily candles above this, I could be considering another move up. But, for your spot account, $1.10. We spoke about $1.10 and the fair value gap for ages now. This is ultimately a great trade. And we are, this is a 150% move without leverage. We've obviously leveraged this up for the boys. So let's see, guys. ENA looking really strong. It's now above that 50%, that macro 50% level, which is really bullish. It's the one that Solana is struggling to get above. So you can see Solana, we spoke about Solana. The macro 50% is coming in at $195, and that is struggling to get above that. But something like ENA is above the macro 50% level, so that is bullish. This is looking very bullish, and it's looking like a market leader. Something that's also above the macro 50% is SUI. So SUI's macro 50% is at $3.55. We are above that level, so very bullish. What else? Chainlink. So look at Chainlink, guys. Chainlink is above that 50% level, so again, very bullish. This trade is cooking, guys. If you are in this trade, you can move your stop loss up to that 1540 zone over there. Or if you want to just take all the risk off the table, have a free trade, bang, stop loss to break even. I'm personally going stop loss break even. I do not think, and I do not want to see it come down there. So guys, if you're on this trade, we have an average entry of $16.80. I'm very, very bullish on Chainlink. And I do have a target of $40 for Chainlink, guys. It makes perfect sense. I do think we're going to see $40 Chainlink. So hold on tight, guys. Hold on tight. It is going to be a volatile ride. So you may as well take a free trade here. Remember, we did risk a lot here. We did put more than 2R into this trade. Risked more than 2% of our trading portfolio in the stop loss alone. So we are heavily long on Link. So let's see what happens, guys. Another one that's looking really good is Lido, guys. Lido is starting to really cook. We obviously went long on Lido over here. And what I want to see now is for Lido to start to close multiple candles above this 50% level. So that 50% level is coming in at $1.55. So we're currently getting rejected off there right now. So what I want to see for, as a Lido bull is for Lido to consolidate above the zone over here. $1.55. If you are in this Lido trade with me, you can actually take some chips off the table. We have broken down the zone over here. Lido could easily, retrace down to these previous highs over here, something like that, before having a push to the upside. And that's this resistance zone over here, bang. This would make perfect sense. It's a perfect retest over there. So if you are a conservative trader, you can take some chips off the table at the zone over here, and you could potentially reload at $1.34. That zone over there. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. But guys, things are really lining up. Things are looking really bullish at the moment. Of course, from a timing perspective, we have spoken about the timing perspective of Bitcoin dominance. That's why, it's potentially the beginning of the end, is that we are expecting one last blow off move here, guys. And we have our target zones over there. We said Q4 and Q1 of Q4 of this year, Q1 of next year. We do expect the top to happen over there. If you have a look at that on Bitcoin, we can move our box. This is potentially target one. I mean, I'm expecting this to happen sooner than later, and maybe we'll get another push to the upside. But I'm very happy to take the majority of my Bitcoin chips off the table at 140K, guys. It's been one hell of a move from the bottom, and things are looking good for the crypto market at the moment. Things are looking. So look at Ondo to dollar. Currently, at our entry price, we're about to get the golden cross as well. So there is some hope for Ondo, guys. The golden cross will be huge for the program. We haven't had the golden cross in ages. Last time we got the golden cross, we had a huge move to the upside, and Ondo went all the way up to $2.11. So I think this cross as well, it's been a bigger accumulation period, guys. This accumulation period was 104 days. This accumulation period has been incredibly long. You can say it's been 150 days. So maybe we're going to see a move, that's 50% more than this. So, we saw a move like this, boom, 250%. I think this is going to be the move, 200% move all the way up to $3. I'm in for this trade, guys. Really bullish on something like Ondo. I think this is such a good one. If you've missed the pumps at the moment, this is looking like a really good opportunity. And what I can see at the moment, guys, is like some kind of inverse head and shoulders here as well. We got the head. Let me just pull this up. Head and shoulders. Potential shoulder in the zone over here. And once we do get that breakout, guys, it is going to be explosive. So the breakout area is $1.20. If we can see Ondo above $1.20, going to be looking really good. But this is the head and shoulders that we want to see, guys. Inverse head and shoulders, of course. But yeah, news events. So we do have CPI, of course, on Tuesday. That's why I think there's a bit of uncertainty at the moment. There's a bit of a pullback, profit taking at the moment. What do we have later this week? Not too much, guys. FOMC meeting minutes, of course, on Wednesday. That should move the markets as well. So watch out for these news events. I do think we are just kind of de-risking into those news events. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. But guys, thanks so much for watching the show, and we'll see you later this week, potentially for the FOMC minutes. Thanks for joining, and cheers for now.